Hello, everyone. Welcome to Feedstuffs 365. I'm Sarah Muirhead. Agricultural meteorologist Greg Soulje is with us here today on this Friday to
Yep.
give us a look at what's coming up in the near term. Sounds like there's quite a bit to talk about, Greg.
Yes, the phrase we kick around on the radio, active and moisture laden. I think that applies to a wide and expansive area of the country. And some folks may not necessarily like the degree of moisture coming. Folks like the ending of drought, but we're going to really go from one pendulum swing to another around here in the coming probably next couple of months. But we'll get you the shorter term of it here and go forward from there as we talk weather here in the next 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, lots of water sitting in my neck of the woods
Yeah.
in northern Illinois here. Lots of flooding in the fields. So, well, go ahead and give us the update.
All right, here we go on this 3rd of April. Yeah, here in my part of northern Lake County, we are roughly about 4 miles west of Lake Michigan, as I like to call it and talk about it, and just to annoy the neighbors up to the north, 4 miles south of the Cheddar Curtain, so people know where that's probably at. In any event, yeah, a lot of standing water out here. And maybe sometime we can talk about these solar farms that are beginning to crop up in these fields, these solar panels that the producers are selling their land and putting these things up. There's a bunch of them in my particular part of the world. Anyway, that's for a discussion point for another time. There's a visible satellite picture from this morning, fraught with cloudiness, some thinning of the overcast. And this time of the year, when you thin out the overcast and you're in the particular right side of weather systems and the whole layout of Gulf moisture and higher dew points, you can just bubble up that atmosphere and generate showers and thunderstorms. And again, we have gone literally from a drought to a flood, with flood warnings, for example, in the northwestern reaches of Ohio, Maumee Valley, the Wabash as well, and some of the lowland ag areas, just to name some of the main tributaries that have seen just way too much water of late. Look at that low. That is a winter-like low making its way through the northern and central divide in Rockies. Like I said, you may not necessarily like the moisture coming. This is part 2 in the main storm, the main event, if you will, of these little bits and pieces of 3 systems that have come out over the past couple of 2 or 3 days across the middle part of the country. Had some degree of moisture in the upper Midwest, northern plains, would you believe? And I didn't get a chance to put the warning chart up here, but there are ice storm warnings in effect over parts of northern and central Wisconsin. So take that if you think you're into springtime mode versus the likelihood of another round of severe weather. And these are growing more and more the way of repeating heavy rain events as well, not to mention the hail that's come on down too, but we'll take a look at that in just a second. That circulation down through western Kansas, that's the first low. The second low is kind of tucked up, maybe right along the southeastern Montana, northeastern Wyoming border. So that's a dual prong low coming on out. Gulf moisture wide open, cooler to colder air on the move. Nothing Arctic in persuasion, but certainly cold enough to get your attention here come Easter Sunday and into the early part of next week. And that cold air is going to begin to lay out over the middle part of the country, just like we've been portraying here, both on these get-togethers, our broadcast, and on This Week in Agribusiness. Unfortunately, or fortunately, that longer range stuff is coming into fruition quite nicely or badly going forward with Springfield work and planning in mind. Most of the organized moisture, that's both rain, some sleet, freezing rain, and snow, actually 4 elements coming on down through Montana, the western Dakotas, some snow and mixed rain up into parts of upper Michigan, winter storm warnings in effect there too, winter weather advisories in effect across the Dakotas. That's in the colder to colder side of the system. You can see that boundary from Kansas through Missouri into Illinois, stagnant and stationary for now. A couple of showers south of the I-70 corridor, at least near it currently. That'll become a very active weather pattern going forward here in the next 24 to 36 hours. In any event, highlights include the thunderstorms that rock parts of northern Illinois, southern Wisconsin, kind of a recurring, repeating phenomenon. A couple of days ago, it was northern Indiana, northwest Ohio, and just not little, small hailstones coming down. These are 1 and 2 inch plus diameter stones, golf ball size hail, baseball size hail coming on down. And this range of temperatures from readings in the lower 30s, freezing up across the Dakotas, 80 at the I-64 corridor and southward into the Ohio. Is this the right mechanism to get these spring storms rocking and rolling all over again with one moisture form or another? But again, drought relief if you wanted to spin it like the glass is half full type of scenario. And there's the mentioned freezing rain, sleet, and snow across the Dakotas. That'll be shifting across Minnesota, Wisconsin. I wouldn't be surprised. There's maybe a few wet snowflakes in the parts of northern Iowa, northern Illinois at some point Saturday night before skies begin to break. There's also been some degree of significant moisture from Kansas into central Texas and eastern Nebraska. A long way to go with those winter wheat fields. And again, this is probably the first of a couple of more outbreaks of moisture. We might very well get a little more positive spin on some of these winter wheat fields. There's more in the way of rain showing up in those winter wheat fields of Kansas, Oklahoma, and Texas going forward. But still, the high plains areas of at least Nebraska, more so Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Dalhart, Amarillo, the Oklahoma Panhandle country, New Mexico, Colorado, still in the midst of some very high fire possibilities. But those prospects should be winding down here in the next couple of weeks. Again, a little more bullish on rainfall prospects for the plains, and it becomes bearish with spring field work for good chunks of the Corn Belt going forward. In the southern states, a couple of showers and thunderstorms west of the Appalachians, dry weather otherwise for outdoor work. There is another area of the country that will be looking at some worsening dryness and drought-related issues going forward. Despite a couple of showers and thunderstorms, there's some issue regarding topsoil moisture, subsoil moisture, and stream flows from the Tennessee Valley on southward into the southeastern states, but kind of above average growth and development already, where soil moisture, at least topsoil moisture, has been kind of relatively adequate in the southeastern part of the country. Not unusual to get some cold air and some freezing into parts of western Colorado, Utah, but that's coming off 95 to 100 degree warmth a couple of weeks ago. So there's a shockaroo in the system for any livestock operations out there. Snow showers over the northern Rockies. The precip has been of benefit, but really focused in the Pacific Northwest, northern Rockies, northern High Plains. I think it's going to be an early and often start to the fire season when we get the monsoon season going in the southwestern states. And I think still with time that dryness and drought will be after the April rains coming back into play across the Plain States areas. And again, I think it's just too much of a good thing showing up over many areas of the Corn Belt with maybe any early season and field work in mind. Did talk to a nutrient guy down in Missouri for the TV show, and they were out early and often, got significant rains, but it was in that 3, 4, 5-inch category. Now things are completely shut down and likely to stay that way, for example, going forward in the short term of it all. There's the weather systems organizing over the East Central Plains this afternoon. Look at the blanket of snow. Nebraska Panhandle, it squelches the fires, at least, I guess, into the Black Hills, and from there, from Big Sky on east, and that snow area will lay down probably 6 to 12 inches of wet packing, high moisture content snow. Look at it as well, the water equivalency is going to be maybe a half to an inch worth of rain out there. And speaking of the rain, there it is, expanding over the northern and western Corn Belt locales. Severe weather once again had a couple of days ago rocked West Texas with big old hail. And there is the wide and expansive shield of rain shower thunderstorm activity from Michigan and the Sioux southward into Texas. So some beneficial moisture there for pasture lands. A wraparound effect has snow from the Twins to Aberdeen to Bismarck and east from there. And it's an ice storm, honest to goodness ice storm from about Lambeau to maybe the north of Wisconsin Dells, maybe Wisconsin Rapids, northward into upper Michigan. If you are going to travel, by the way, you will run into rainy travel from Champaign to Lucas Oil Field for that big basketball game. I think it's a 5:08 tip there for Illinois, and I believe it's Yukon. And so expect some rainy travel on the interstate run into Indiana tomorrow afternoon and evening time. The last of the rain probably moving out of Indianapolis around tip-off time, leftover snow showers and flurries into the northern Great Lakes region. It will be a drier but muddy, if you're going to be out for Easter morning services, activities, what have you, and a chillier one at that, with probably some temperatures in the upper teens and 20s over the northern Corn Belt. Probably some frost expected Monday morning as far south as northern Missouri, central Illinois, but again, some beneficial rains for now into the southeastern parts of the country. It might be a little tough to see, but you can see this range of temperatures this afternoon. More so tomorrow, 30s for the Dakotas, the upper Midwest, 80s from the Ohio Valley into the mid-Atlantic region and points on southward. The next couple of days, significant rain down through Oklahoma and Texas. Another quarter to 3/4 on the conservative side. Most everyone probably in the half to buck and a half category for much of the Corn Belt. And the water equivalency of that snow, by the way, wet packing variety, will be up close to an inch. Look at it that way for the Dakotas, the upper Midwest, versus just accumulating snow. We're back into chasing severe weather this afternoon. This afternoon, it's focused southern Iowa, northern Missouri. That's level 3 on the scale out of 5, the enhanced risk. slight risk elsewhere, and right along that warm front across and just south of I-80 into northern Illinois. The severe weather potential should shift into eastern Indiana and Ohio, probably more or less late morning or afternoon. That's not the right time to get severe weather going, but that's where the strongest storms into the far eastern Corn Belt will play out for the day tomorrow. There are the fire concerns still, western Texas, Oklahoma Panhandle, and into New Mexico and Colorado. But again, we think that may be an ongoing thing, but eastern areas, the eastern half of the plains, probably a little more bullish on rainfall chances going forward here over the next several weeks. There's the drought monitor, and northern Illinois, we're out of it. Southern Wisconsin, much of Michigan, if not all of Michigan, the rest of Wisconsin, good improvement over areas of central and southern Indiana and Ohio, still in a world of hurt down through the southern plains, the southeastern states, and actually most everyone probably west and south of the Missouri. There's the Midwestern snapshot. Still an area of at least severe drought into parts of Ford and Iroquois counties and east central Illinois and sections of northwest Ohio. But again, this data was taken before the rains that came through the middle and late portions of the week. So next week's panels as well should be showing improvement. Don't think we're going to make up the double-digit totals, but we could go into when we can get into the fields on a regular basis. Should make up some significant drought improvement and soil moisture, subsoil moisture improvement going forward here over the next several weeks. This is a pattern that's locking in for the next month to probably 5 or 6 weeks. And we'll talk about that on the TV show, on our live stream, and on these get-togethers as well during the Tuesday and Friday timeframe. That's the drought, I should say, the snow cover as of about 2 weeks ago into areas of the upper Midwest. There's the snow cover from this morning. We're going in the wrong direction out of the Dakotas and west and south of the Twins, and that's going to build south to almost I-80, I think, going forward by the time we get to either tomorrow or Sunday morning. Next to 5 days, we'll have to figure a way to get some arrows and stuff on here. But in any event, there's the trough moving through Monday and Tuesday. It's a west to east zonal flow, no big deal. So cooler seasonal temperatures, no big deal. You can see a weather system up through Canada Wednesday, the buckling of the jet stream pattern, the upper pattern across California. There's probably 2 or 3 streams of energy in here. One through the west, southwest, another one moving through the northern Rockies. And then you've got over the southeastern part of the country what we call high heights or warm temperatures up aloft. So you've got Gulf moisture and warmth to the southeast, jet stream patterns that are fragmented, fronts that get caught up in that southwest and northeast upper wind flow. And so the at least bigger synoptic scale, as we call it in the weather business, the bigger scale features are lining up to what should be a significant rain event later next week and the following week over the plains and Corn Belt locales. The details are in the smaller scale showers and thunderstorms, what we call the mesoscale outbreaks that occur. Those have a tendency to just generally corrupt the whole main upper air pattern, the synoptic scale, and run on a mind of their own. They're little atmospheric engines, as Tom Skilling would say, and they are. Once they get going and they recur and they repeat and they get the right dynamics. And again, there's a saying, dry weather begets a dry weather pattern. Wet grounds beget a wetter weather pattern. The models can't get the math right and moving evaporation and moisture back into the whole atmospheric setup. And so it goes. There we go into Tuesday and Wednesday. It's a quick turnaround on 30 to 40 mile an hour south winds. Temperatures recover. There's a front coming down, and one of those streams is getting caught up and stalled out through the southern Great Lakes region, central plains. So you got a northeast to east wind flow out of the cold highs. You got a south wind in the warmer air south of that boundary. That's a converging wind field. They come together. You get a jet stream that goes up on top of it, or an upper air system, or energy pockets, and you're off to the races chasing showers and thunderstorms around. And this is a locking down setup, just like we have been talking about here for the past couple of months, both here and on the TV show as well. The 7-day outlook has this in our midst. So folks who have maybe had some early season field work, yeah. Others that want to get out there, no. Standing water and ponding, yeah, these are going to be kind of recurring, repeating, quick, heavier, not these absorbing type rains, but quick, downpours where they tend to recur and repeat over a wide area of the plains and just about all of the Corn Belt, as the commodities guys would call it, in complete solid coverage. Going forward here, high risk of severe weather on that warm front across parts of the Midwest, a cold front on its heels. Probably more or less 5 to 8 with a couple of pockets of 10 to 12-inch snows for the Dakotas and 40-mile-an-hour winds. Heads up livestock operations. Hopefully you're doing the correct thing. It's a damaging ice storm for parts of the upper Midwest, especially centered on northern and central Wisconsin. And then the cold air that will send readings over that snowpack and ice pack down to the teens up to the north, and probably some low to mid 30s in northern Missouri, central Illinois, central Indiana in the Monday to Tuesday time frame. So keep an eye on that. Next 6 to 10 days, there's that same lockdown pattern, some cool air trolling through the upper Midwest. The jet stream is right over the middle part of the country. The warm ridge of the Gulf moisture source is over the southeastern part of the country. And so no endorsement here, but it's good for discussion points. And it's actually kind of right on what we've all been talking about around here. There's the warmth, there's the cool air, and there's the moisture pattern. That's out for at least through the 12th of April. And we want to go forward. There's very little change. Steering currents with the diminishing cold air return wind down the weekend, and hence weather systems are slower to move, and hence thunderstorm and outbreaks of showers are slower to move when and where they get going. Here is a perfect example of that out the next 2 weeks. Little change through at least probably mid-April. Little change at least through mid-April. And that's the story going forward. We will have our live stream coming up the 22nd of April. We have updates, of course, each week on This Week in Agribusiness. That 4-week forecast, by the way, takes us into the first week of May. And not real promising. And, of course, our little get-togethers here on Tuesdays and Fridays. So, thanks for stopping by. Have a great Easter. Don't shoot the messenger. You wanted rain. You wish for too much for it, and it just doesn't stop then. And that's the story going forward here in the weeks to come.
Or nothing like a good snowstorm to put out a wildfire.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. You didn't tell me what kind of moisture you wanted. You wanted to stop the fires. I mean, that's all I had.
You delivered.
I delivered. Yeah. So again, Ticket is the Glasses radio guy down in Champaign. Dave Gentry, longtime ag broadcaster, would say, Greg, look at it as the glasses half full. So there you go. There you go. So
well, thank you, Greg. Yeah, thanks for joining us. Have a great Easter and happy Easter to all of you. And we'll see you next week.
Take care.